Hard Rock Stadium in Miami held 64,767 people on the night Argentina opened their FIFA World Cup campaign against Algeria, and the atmosphere inside that building had been building since long before either team walked out. Algeria arrived organized and prepared, a side that had spent months studying patterns and tendencies, with a defensive structure built specifically around containing the one man every team in this tournament has already drawn up a plan for. Then, the minute arrived, and the plan stopped mattering. One touch set the ball at the right distance and angle, a half step opened the shooting lane, and the left foot that has produced moments like this in Copa America finals and on the biggest nights of the last 2 decades bent the ball into the top right corner of the net. The Algeria goalkeeper never moved, not because his reactions were slow, but because there was simply nowhere to move to. Lionel Messi, the Argentina captain playing in his 5th FIFA World Cup at 38 years old, had just confirmed what the entire stadium already suspected but hadn't dared say out loud. This video covers 3 specific things. First, why that goal carried more meaning than the scoreline alone suggests, and what the minutes leading into it revealed about where Messi's body actually is at this stage of the tournament. Second, what Argentina's complete performance against Algeria showed about their title defense, including a part of their game that Scaloni's staff will be studying closely before the next fixture. Third, why the global fan reaction to this match moved differently on social media than anything the opening days of the 2026 World Cup had produced before it. And what the numbers behind that reaction tell us about where Messi stands in the sport right now. Watch the first touch on that goal back closely. At 38 years old, in the Miami Heat at a World Cup, that first touch lands exactly where it needs to, far enough from his body to create the shooting angle and close enough that no correction was ever needed. That detail carries more weight than most coverage has given it credit for. Because for the 8 months leading into this tournament, a question hung over Messi and the Argentina squad that the federation handled with deliberate silence. Back in March 2026, Inter Miami listed him absent for 2 final regular season Major League Soccer matches with what the club described only as muscle management, and he returned during their playoff run, scored and secured his place in the World Cup squad. But the word management never fully left the conversation around him. What the minutes settled, at least for now, is that a player managing any kind of physical limitation does not plant, load, and drive through a full velocity association football strike from 25 yards without flinching on contact. The biomechanics of that finish belong to a player who is, right now, in this tournament, physically intact. That goal also moved Messi's FIFA World Cup finals tally to, leaving him behind his all-time record at the tournament, the same record Kylian Mbappé is chasing from goals back. 2 players, 1 record, 1 World Cup, and the opening chapter of that race arrived in Miami on June. Now for the full 90 minutes, because the goal was the headline, but the match produced considerably more information than a single finish. Argentina controlled % of possession, and their press recovery time across the match, the average seconds needed to win the ball back after losing it, came in at seconds. Numbers like those do not belong to a team running on emotional momentum. They belong to a team coached to a specific intensity and executing it with discipline. Rodrigo de Paul in midfield was the best outfield player on the pitch who was not wearing the number 10. Logging ball recoveries and completing long passes from attempts, the engine work that creates the tempo Messi operates in, and the supply lines Lautaro Martinez feeds off. When De Paul performs at that level, the entire Argentina structure runs at a different speed, and against Algeria, it was that tempo that broke the match open. Lautaro scored the second in the minute. And his record across the last international appearances now reads goals from matches. For a defending World Cup champion that needs goals from multiple sources rather than one 38-year-old left foot, those numbers carry genuine weight. But here's the thing the performance also showed. Algeria created clear chances in 90 minutes, and of them arrived from the same source: diagonal balls driven in behind the left channel where Nahuel Molina had pushed too high up the pitch. Molina's attacking output was exactly what Scaloni asked for, and that is not where the concern sits. What the footage flags is that the same diagonal found space behind him times across the 90. Against Algeria, that exposure stayed manageable. Against a side with a direct forward who runs in behind, and France have several who make a living there, that channel gets targeted from kickoff, and whether the solution costs Argentina something in their attacking shape is a question Scaloni will be working through before the next fixture. If this level of football analysis is what you want throughout the 2026 World Cup, not just the result, but the story underneath it, subscribe now. The channel covers every meaningful match in this tournament the same way, all the way through to the FIFA World Cup final at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey on July 19th. Now to the reaction, because what happened on social media in the hours after the final whistle is not just a content story. FIFA's official accounts posted the goal footage and it collected million views in the first hours, placing it among the most watched goal clips in World Cup history by the speed of its initial spread. But the number that fills out the picture is the trending data. In countries, Messi's name reached the top trending position within 30 minutes of the final whistle, not Argentina, not the FIFA World Cup, Messi specifically, and in of those countries that trend held for more than hours. That is not the reaction pattern of an athlete winding down. Compare it with the social numbers from Kylian Mbappe's opening goal for the France national football team. That effort trended in countries and gathered million views on FIFA's platform in the same window. Both figures are extraordinary by any standard, and both came in below what Messi's goal produced across the same time frame. Miami added its own dimension to the night. The Argentine community there is the largest of any North American city hosting matches in this tournament, and the scenes around Hard Rock Stadium and through the Brickell district after full time matched in scale and noise what Copa America 2024 produced in the same city. For a World Cup that has faced documented questions about crowd atmosphere and attendance in certain host cities, Miami on that evening answered every one of those questions. In the tournament bracket, Argentina face on to close out the group stage, and the evidence of this performance suggests they advance without serious pressure. The knockout rounds are where the real test arrives, with the projected path placing a potential quarterfinal against France, Germany, or England in front of them depending on how the bracket develops. That bracket raises a specific question about how Scaloni manages Messi across a 39-day tournament. At 38, the physical reserve is finite, and matches will come where he does not start or does not see out 90 minutes, and that is not a sign of decline, but the intelligent management of something that cannot be replaced. The 2022 Argentina squad that lifted the World Cup trophy in Qatar were a genuinely collective unit, with defensive discipline, midfield energy from De Paul, Lautaro's goals, and set-piece threat from multiple sources. Messi was the difference maker, but the squad was deep enough to win nights when he was not at his absolute peak. The 2026 defense hinges on whether that collective quality holds at the same level, because against Algeria, the Argentina national football team looked most organized and most threatening when Messi was on the ball and operating at the standard the minute demanded. Whether the collective grows as the knockout rounds arrive is the central question of this title defense, and the Algeria match did not answer it. The next 3 or 4 fixtures will. Something worth sitting with before the final question. This tournament has had documented problems around it, pricing issues, attendance shortfalls in certain host cities, complex situations involving specific national delegations. Those stories are real and they have been covered honestly on this channel. None of that changes what happened inside Hard Rock Stadium when 64,000 people watched Lionel Messi, at 38 years old, in his 5th FIFA World Cup, bend a football into the top corner of the net. Football at this level has a way of making everything else wait. And on the night the defending World Cup champions opened their title defense against Algeria in Miami, it made everything else wait for a very long time. Here is the question worth answering in the comments, and a direct answer works better than a careful one. If Argentina reach the quarterfinal and Scaloni needs Messi for 90 minutes in both the quarterfinal and the semifinal in the same week, does his body hold at the level Miami saw? Or does the Argentina squad need to be good enough to carry him through rounds he cannot decide on his own? One answer or the other, with your reasoning, because those are the comments worth reading. Subscribe if you want this level of coverage from now through to the World Cup final at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. Every match, every question that matters.